How's it going? Today is 18th of July, Thursday, and we're taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find. Today, let's take a look at what would be very important. Well, let's take a look at the recycling and let's try to tackle this issue from different angles. There were a lot of press releases, so I thought I'll put all these press releases into one video and let's try to cover this since that is perhaps a very important topic, and let's try to understand a little bit better entire space and what's happening from some of the infrastructure projects being launched, as well as what is right to repair and everything what's happening with perhaps net zero targets and how you can looking to progress in order to achieve that, as well as some of the companies who perhaps is doing great and perhaps some of the companies who could always do better. Let's touch on everything, I guess. Something that was released yesterday that would be bin inspections. Okay, okay, bin inspections could increase to boost recycling. So perhaps that's very unique to a very particular area, as well as I'm constantly following everything what's happening across entire UK, and sometimes it could be quality of recycling could suffer, as well as people perhaps busy focusing on other things. And in today's video, let's try to bring more attention to perhaps recycling entire process, and let's break it down while taking a look at perhaps what we can always do better, right? I won't be going too deep into how to recycle, as well as some of these initiatives that's been rolled uniquely by individual councils. But just, I guess, be more careful and when recycling, making sure that you're following instructions on the label and on the bins, right? I'd like to begin by taking a look at EU. I think EU has made more progress, right? So let's take a look at the EU Parliament that we right to repair, making repair easier and more appealing to consumers. But it's something that was released this year in April, 3 months ago only. It had to be done 20 years ago. We're only working on it right now, right? And let's read the entire article. I think that would be important, and that would be a good thing to begin with and work from there, right? Battery manufacturers has to repair product for a reasonable price and within a reasonable time frame after a legal guarantee period. Okay, okay. Access to spare parts, tools, and repair information for consumers. Incentives to opt for repair, such as repair vouchers and funds. Online platforms will assist consumers in finding local repair services and shops selling refurbished goods. Okay, okay. Perhaps there should be more incentives and all those opportunities should be created for anything that you purchase. I think as of now things are moving more to that you're purchasing services, you're not purchasing goods. And the more we're gonna progress into the future, the more things gonna be coming to you as a services, not necessarily as a goods. So if you purchase a car, you will purchase a services of travel from point A to point B. Car, you won't gonna own the car. I don't know who came up with these rules, but you won't gonna own your phone for whatever reason. How hard things are getting or be made to be. This is the direction where things are moving. So I thought I'll touch on it since I think that's not the right direction, and perhaps you can make something. Perhaps you can do it, but that's why I thought I'll touch on you. But either way, let's continue with this article, right? The new rules or laws, or should be a laws, reinforce the right to repair and to reduce waste and bolster the repair sector by making it easier and more cost effective to repair goods, right? So if some people were using an example as a car, right? So every time when you need to replace brakes, you should purchase entire car. Why not, right? So this is for some of the companies out there. This is where things are. If you need to replace one part, you might as well purchase entire car. On Tuesday, Parliament adopted the directive of so-called right to repair for consumers with 584 votes. in favor of 3 against and 14 abstain. The rule clarified that obligations for manufacturers to repair goods and encourage customers to extend production lifestyle throughout repair. Obligations to repair. The new rules ensure that manufacturers provide timely and no cost-effective repair services and inform customers about the right to repair. Or to very least, manufacturers do not put roadblocks of items to be repaired. Since some of the manufacturers, this is what they're doing. So the items won't be repaired. I don't want to talk about these companies. If anything, I can briefly touch on some of those companies and things that they're doing briefly, and we can progress. Since some of those companies, I would highly recommend do not purchase any of that equipment, since you are supporting this kind of behavior. Some of those manufacturers with the roadblocks, right? Many things, right? Yeah. It's part of the problem. I think some of the people are part of the problem. The way how they think, but either way. Goods repaired under warranty will benefit from adoption of 1 year extension of legal guarantee for the incentives customers to choose repair instead of replacement. After legal guarantee expired, manufacturers are still required to repair common household products with technically repairable under EU law, such as washing machines, vacuum cleaners, and even smartphones. Even smartphones. The list of products categories can be extended over time. Consumers may also borrow devices while they're in being repaired off. If it cannot be fixed, opt in for refurbished units as well as alternatives. I don't know if it's worth reading the entire article, since we're perhaps going more in detail, as well as I can touch on contact information if something yourself you're interested in. It will come back to perhaps what companies you're interested in working with, as well as what perhaps companies you're not consider not working with and or purchasing and or doing business with. I would highly stress this fact. And as well as I would like to touch on some of those companies who I believe are doing great. We can progress to that, but right to repair, it's very common sense on this particular law. It's just been adapted recently in April, and from there we're gonna be taking a look at what's happening within the UK and where all the household the goods would end up in landfill. That's where it will end up. So it just depends on people's mindset, I guess, what kind of future we're gonna be leaving for next generations, right? Let's take a look at some of these initiatives. I believe since the new laws might come into effect, launching more of these centers might be an option going forward. That will repair evolution. This particular company, I think, moving to the right direction. That they released guidance to support local authorities in transition to reuse and repair household waste recycling centers. Something that I have noticed some time ago, perhaps 6 months ago. They're launching some of those initiatives where people can potentially bring the household items, and they could potentially be people or professionals. I guess that's what it might come back to you and come down to. Those items might be repaired, but again, it depends on the item and depending on what's wrong with this item, right? Today, this company launched second in series of reuse and repair guidance designed to support and empower local authorities. Taking next steps in the journey to a circular economy, the repair evolution guide offers local authorities practical steps for the next stage in converting HVRCs to household reuse and recycle centers. It's something yourself you're interested in. Perhaps you can do a little bit of research based on where you are. There might be one of those centers nearby where you can potentially take your washing machine or similar items and they could be repaired, right? Some of the points previously made about 2 or 3 years ago, where UK was discussing right to repair laws and everything what the UK might implement. So we moving to UK. That will be UK reliability indexes measures that had widespread support. It seems a simpler way to drive demand for more reliable products for citizens and to meet net zero targets. So net zero, so within even this statement, we have touched on net zero as well as reliability and or manufacturers. Nobody touched on manufacturers at this point. some of those manufacturers would build in reasons and or ways how things shouldn't and won't be repaired. They can do that. They can go as far as doing such things, right? Assurance that the safety and the liability of repair products and who is responsible needs to be clarified throughout legal framework. Removing VAT from repair could be benefit for environment and increase number of high-skilled repair jobs in UK. More analysis is needed to understand and cost benefits of such approach. Removing VAT and potentially having more people repairing items, right? Not necessarily. I don't know. Trying to break down entire process, right, within UK and how to fix some of those issues, right? Innovation and right to repair are not necessary in opposition to each other. There is a potential win-win situation in which customer demand drives environmental innovation products, right? I don't know. So we either way, that's how I'll touch on it. Some of the meetings that was taking place within UK and some of the takeaways out of the meetings where they think that that's a problem. Some other articles, but I'm not sure if we have enough time. That really fixing devices and application is currently tricky. So perhaps it shouldn't be, but it is very tricky, right? About new customer rights laws. So perhaps government should do more or not, seeking to change that. There's a person there looks at it might change the technology we use, so even some of the sparse technology, those kind of things. Otherwise, we can progress and taking a look at some of the infrastructure projects that was announced recently and what government is doing when it comes to perhaps. So we were touching and all the troubleshooting, quote unquote, right? What problems might be within the industry, what our government is doing. But let's take a look at some of the infrastructure projects and where waste will end up, right? We can take a look at some of the infrastructure projects. Some of those, this particular one, that something that was announced 7 days ago, that the new 3.9 million household recycle center approved. That the councillors back plans to relocate the existing site in March, Cambridgeshire, and they'll build a bigger facility. Project which has gone over the budget by more than $500,000 is now set to cost close to 4 million, should be completed by end of 2025. So some of those infrastructure projects currently happening, and don't know if they would be considering perhaps repairing some of those items and all those kind of things. But if anything, it might be these kind of problems might just be piling up, right? Let's take a look at what government is doing. Something that was released 2 days ago, that will be new consultations on Lower Hare Farm landfill permit near Exeter. Something that I was taking a look at previously. I think there's some companies there operating private businesses and they're looking to hire more people, as well as not necessarily perhaps there are a lot of technology solutions. So I'm not necessarily touching on some of those countries who potentially importing a lot and recycling, right? I'm not touching on those countries. I know how waste could be used as energy source, all these kind of things, right? But let's take a look at this particular article just because it was published recently, and let's close this video on that. That would be consultations launch in environmental agency into landfill sites proposals in Whitestone near Exeter, right? So some of the waste maybe will end up in landfill, but either way, right? That will be environmental agency has launched its second consultation today on the permit applications to open landfill site Lower Hares Farm in Whitestone near Exeter. And people who are interested, again, I can cover that more in detail, right? Previous consultation by the agency, which closed in May, received a lot of interest, resulting in agency declarations set aside as one of the high public interest. Okay. I don't know if it's high public interest, but I have taken a look at some of the press releases where people end up paying a lot of fines, right? So because if they're paying a lot of fines, perhaps that will come back to being a high public interest. Do not pay those fines, right? Everything what's happening with this particular area, right, or surrounding areas. But let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.